at the office, Cleveland's home for sports talk that never clocks out. From the latest headlines to heated debates, we're diving into everything sports. It's your hosts, Noah and Matt.
Cleveland! Welcome into the office, the show where we talk all things sports. I'm your host, Noah, joined with my co-host, Matt. You can join us at the office too. Comment on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Text or call the show, 216-260-3433. That is 216-260-3433. Even if you aren't watching the live and you want to give us a call, leave us a voicemail. We'll get to your voicemail after the show and maybe play it in the following show. Who knows? Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm not bad. Just ate, some frozen taquitos for dinner. Feeling great. Excited to talk Cleveland sports with you.
Yeah, if we're talking dinner real quick, man, me and my girlfriend, shout out Bree, we decided to start meal prepping this week. So I had some lemon pepper chicken, I had some potatoes, I had some green beans. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I got a good workout in. Monday Night Raw's on tonight, so I got my CM Punk shirt on. But all of that being said, there's more important matters at hand, my friend. And those matters are the Cleveland Guardians to get us started, man. Bieber was back on the mound during spring training. Let me play the video for you real quick just so you could get the chills again like I did. Give me 1 second. I'm not going to play the whole clip for our audio-only listening viewers. I didn't realize there was zero audio attached to that clip of Bieber pitching. But, Matt, how do you feel about Biebs back on the mound, man?
I mean, obviously love to see it. He's one of those players that just is like a cornerstone of a Cleveland franchise. It hurt all last year not having him. And I'm just, you love to see him back in the Cleveland colors, obviously. I'm wearing the Shane Bieber jersey today. It's one of those things that I hate being sad or, the sad guy of the show this early on, but like it makes me wonder, and I always will think about how we would have done had we had him last year. But then I just get so excited thinking about we're going to have him this year with a team that's 1 year further developed and had a postseason run under their belt now. I mean, I'm just super excited to see him back for us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited as well. I don't think if you're a Cleveland Guardians fan, the only emotion to feel is excitement, right? Just seeing him back on the mound, seeing him in those new classic looking uniforms, and they finally dropped him on the shop, Matt. They finally listened my prayers. It's just exciting. Huh?
Now you can get one.
I'm not even going to buy one. I have my City Connect. I spent way too much money on my Quan City Connect last year. I digress. Seeing Biebs back on the mound, though, it just makes me feel good, feel excited. Saturday is the first spring training game, I believe. So we're already in the swing of things. They're down and into it in Arizona. We got a lot of prospects that are listed in, some top 100 charts. So we'll see what they look like, especially with the need of figuring out what exactly we're going to do at second base following the Andres Jimenez trade, figuring out what we're going to do in the outfield long term if the situation we have right now is going to be the exact situation that we have, right? But I'm just excited all overall, aren't you, man?
Yeah, I mean, as it's, well known on the show, I'm a huge baseball guy in general. So getting back into the swing of things, you love to see. And then obviously, Bieber fan, he's back. There's obviously, a lot of people thought we wouldn't see him in a Cleveland uniform again. So, it's just one of those things. Baseball's around the corner. Cleveland has a really good looking team, in my opinion, still. Let's rock, baby.
Let's rock indeed. And speaking of rocking, speaking of rolling, when those good times are on their way, there's only one honey wine brand you should spend it with, and that is D&D Meadery by the brothers named Derek and Dominic of Northeast Ohio. Fine, exquisite, sweet, great tasting honey wine, mead for those who don't know. Use code @theofficeCLE, that's @the-office CLE for 5% off. And if you order 2 bottles you get a free shot glass. So why wouldn't you order 2? You get some merch to go with it, and you get 2 bottles of God's Nectar. Matt, how do you feel about D&D mead?
It's awesome. Fantastic. Amazing. I can't think of any other great words, but you get the drift.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And I want to shout out them and appreciate their sponsorship and their help with everything we do here on the channel and during the show. Now, Matt, let's get back into it because there has been a lot of Guardians news the last couple days, and I think it's only fitting. Bieber's on the mound. Saturday spring training starts officially in terms of like the games and such. Guardians add some pitching help. Why don't you give me some background, and we'll start with one Jakob Junis. Let me put his beautiful mug up there for you real quick too. Go ahead, man.
So, I mean, first off the rip, for the audio only listeners, it's a fantastic beard. Already, good check mark in my book. Love it. But more about the athlete. He's a bullpen arm. He's a righty. Super excited. He carried a 2.69 ERA over 62 innings in his last season. So, I mean, that's a good, solid bullpen arm. I am kind of concerned with him. He's a little bit older, so, he might struggle landing into a new system. But then again, you flip that. He's a vet. He's a pro. Been around. He'll be fine. Doubling down on what we're good at. A good bullpen gets better. How do you not like it?
Yeah, and the thing I like about him too is he has a mixture of availability. He's played some reliever, he's played some starter, so need be if we get in a situation with some injuries and that kind of thing, we can insert him into a lineup and do what we need to do to get through a rough patch of, again, injuries. I want to shout him out real quick because we have the same birthday. Shout out September 16th. I did that in my research. But yeah, overall, I think he was a little get for this team to add to pitching, add to one of what is always a strength of a Cleveland baseball team in pitching. We develop pitchers at a crazy rate, right? And overall, I'm really excited to see what he does, see where he slots in terms of all the different lineups, see when he gets called to be a reliever and whatnot. Matt, he's all good and well, but we added another pitcher today, one by the name of John Means. Tell me a little bit about one John Means.
I mean, I want to start by saying I'm absolutely in love with this signing for this team. He is, for those of you that are a little more unaware, he's coming off of I believe what is his second Tommy John surgery.
It is his second, yep.
So he's got kind of a rough outlook. This is a failure on my part. I don't have his recovery timeline down in front of me anywhere. I don't know if you do. Noah can assist me on that.
It's just roughly mid-season right now with the Tommy John because he went out roughly mid-season last year is the outlook of his injury right now.
With that being said, I still am extremely excited. He's an extremely talented pitcher who has battled injuries in his career. I think it's, Cleveland has always had a very successful track record with developing and also bringing pitchers back from the dead, whether that's the injury graveyard, being older at the end of their career, minus Carlos Carrasco. We don't have to talk about that. And I mean, it kind of reminds me of, a pitcher we had on our roster last year that turned into a fan favorite. And he was loved in Cleveland, coming off a similar injury. And I think Noah's real excited about that connection there.
Yeah, Matthew Boyd, man. They have a fantastic similarity, right? He's almost like a richer man's Matthew Boyd. He's a lefty. They have the matchup there. Both were coming off of injuries and didn't know if their career was going to continue at a successful rate or not. The parallels are there if you want to make the parallels. The parallels aren't there if you don't want to make the parallels, but it's a popular fan theory and thought process that I've seen online that gets me excited for what this guy could bring into our starting lineup potentially come mid-season 2025, baby.
And I want to be the first one to say, I mean this in no shade towards Matthew Boyd whatsoever. I was one of the Clevelanders that loved him. I had his jersey in my hand and opted not to buy it, but I was very, very close. I really loved him. That being said, though, John Means has so much more potential for this team. Just like as a player, he's always been a higher potential player. He finished second in Rookie of the Year voting. I think he has, the capabilities to be a dominant pitcher in this league. And then you take that a step further and you look at the contract we signed him to. We have a club option for next year. Say this works out the way every Clevelander is dreaming and he turns into the Matthew Boyd 2.0, we keep him for the cheap the following year.
Which is huge, right? Because for lack of a better term, we have cheap ownership in Cleveland. And that's really exciting that we could end up with a fantastic arm. Matt, I know there's something you want to get into with this real quick. I just want to shout out that he is a one-time All-Star, and he, was as well. He did throw a no-hitter. I don't know if you knew that. He did throw a no-hitter May 5th, 2021 against the Seattle Mariners. So the talent is there. Is it going to come out from the surgery is obviously the big question mark with, I almost said Matthew Boyd after all the hype and comparison, John Means. But go ahead, Matt. I know you wanted to spin off of that a little bit with something else.
So bringing up, the cheap ownership, I won't deny it. This is really interesting to me when, you take a step back and you look at both of these pitcher signings for Cleveland. Because if I were to ask you, where's Cleveland strong at? Where's Cleveland elite at? Your answer would be our pitching, 100%. We have some of the best
through
pitchers
history,
in the league.
Not last season, but through history, to be candid with you, first of all. But I get what you're saying.
I mean, even we had the best bullpen in the league last year. That's
bullpen. Okay. I just think of how weak that starting lineup is that I'm playing tit for tat. I'm giving you a hard time right now. Continue with your point.
I mean, you're absolutely right. But, we go out, sign a starter, get Shane Bieber back. I think we're looking at a dominant pitching rotation for this coming year, which I love. We're doubling down on what we're strong at, what we're good at already. But it kind of makes me think one of two ways with the other side on offense, because you got to think about that too. You can't win a game without scoring runs. We're investing pretty much all of our very limited resources in pitching already this offseason, which I don't hate, but that means we are heavily relying internally on the bats to develop, or what I think could be possible, but I don't want to get my hope up too much because, as we've said, cheap owners, this could be setting the table for a superstar caliber trade into Cleveland.
Yeah, I hope you're right, man. I don't have much faith in it just because of what this ownership has shown us up until this point and throughout the history of them being the ownership group of this team. But I get what you're saying, and I get what you're getting at when you say that, because all of the assets that we have right now are going towards the pitching. There hasn't been any type of moves when it comes to the field or even DH in general. I guess Slamtana, right? But that's about
Absolutely.
it. And that's we're talking about a guy who's in the twilight of his career and is going to split reps with one Kyle Manzardo. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this. If my gut is telling me what my gut is telling me, they're banking on a Chase DeLauter or a Benzana, one of those two I know Benzana has a lot of time left. He was in Lake County to start his minor league career, and he didn't do crazy things down there. He looked like a prospect who is starting to learn the system, right? But it seems like that to me is where their hope is, more than, oh, maybe they'll actually make a move for once. And maybe they will, and I'll be ecstatic and all over X and texting you and being all about it because we have finally made a move. But I'm not there yet, man. And I'm glad you are, but I'm not personally.
I mean, here's kind of, how I was able to, because I was in that same spot and I was able to kind of pull myself out of it. is if you kind of look at the way we've done things for the past 2 years, and that's, in my opinion, a hard scope to take given, we've watched baseball for 20 some years. Like, it's not easy to just look at the last two. But you extend Jose. Granted, that's a cheap extension for what Jose is, but he agreed to take a pay cut to stay. And then you look at, more so this more recent offseason is what I'm going to look at now, where you trade Jimenez, you trade Naylor. They're absolutely loved in the city. I'm still pained by it. However, you're getting rid of our expensive players on our roster right now that, aren't necessarily superstars. I hate saying that. Absolutely hate saying that. I love them. But, Naylor up and down bat, Jimenez wasn't a power hitter, wasn't a phenomenal hitter at all. It kind of makes me think we're setting the groundwork to, you look at what happened. You extend Jose, and we've had a very nice playoff run as a result of it, and a team that looks poised to do it again. So in my mind, I could see why not, cut more of our spread out waste, which we did with the two trades, and then invest it into one more fine point, elevate everybody else player.
Hey, I hope you're right, but I have been faithful to a fault with this team, right? We're talking about a streaming service to watch the games and everything this year. The triannual cutback of what Guards Fest was and saying the fans wanted it and this, that, and the third. I'm all here for it. I hope they do, but I'm not holding my breath. I am expecting a lot of faith in the minor league system, as we always do. And Jose Ramirez 30 for 30 season. That's about it. That's what I got. You know what I mean? That's just what I'm seeing and how I feel with everything I've seen as a Cleveland Guardians, Cleveland Indians fan my entire life, man. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, you're absolutely, I can't disagree with you. And really all I can say is we're going to have to wait for them to prove one of us wrong.
Amen. And I hope they prove me wrong, because I don't like being the pessimistic person on this show. I like coming on here with all the energy and all of that. But listen, Matt, I'm going to take us to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the monstrosity, the atrociousness, the flat out ugly truth that the NBA All-Star Game is. You're listening to At the Office, a Cleveland sports show, and we'll be back with you after these commercial messages. And we're back at the office talking all things Cleveland sports, hanging out, having a good time, doing our thing, getting excited for Guardian season. We're getting so much closer. Matt and me plan on attending opening day together, as we have for the last 2 seasons. Matt, how you feeling before I go into the little read? I've been talking a lot. I need to give my mouth a break, man.
I'm feeling good. As you just said, baseball season around the corner. We just spent, a good 20 minutes talking about it. Hard not to be excited. Feeling good.
Thank you for the air break so I could catch a swig of water and fill in the airtime. We're back at the office, though. Please subscribe or hit the download button. It helps us grow the channel and or the podcast wherever you're watching or listening to. Really just helps us grow everything. We appreciate it a ton. Drop us a comment whether you're listening to the live show or watching the recording after the fact. Again, we like talking to you guys. We like getting you involved. You can leave us a literal phone call. That is a phone number with a voicemail attached. Leave us a voicemail and you might get featured on the show. Lastly, check out the merch store at theofficecle.com. You can get this beautiful mug. You can get you a sticker. You can get you a shirt. There's a bunch of stuff out there. Shout out Fans for Sports Network for everything they do in helping us produce and prep and do our show here. Matt, what were your thoughts on the new NBA All-Star format, man? It was a heated cesspool on X reading through some of the comments and tweets and all of that about what was going on with this game.
I mean, it kind of sucked, and kind of sucked is being nice because we're on the internet and Noah has a professional career to look forward to that I don't want to ruin. Yeah, I mean, it's
funny.
just, it's not fun. Nobody enjoyed it. I think everybody knew nobody was really going to enjoy it before it even happened. And it, you look at some other all-star events around the world and around the big leagues, and it makes you wonder why they're doing things the way they're doing. I mean, it sucked, but that's my opinion. And I've been known to say that I don't follow basketball as closely as some other people on the show do. So I'm more interested on this topic to hear what you have to say, Noah. What do you think about this All-Star game?
Yeah, first, let me start by prefacing with I give the NBA a ton of credit for trying. They do a lot of things to try and make this game work and entertain the fans and do it the right way and get the players involved and want to play defense and offense and blah, 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 blah. This is my biggest problem with the 2025 NBA All-Star game. I'm just going to pull up this post from Reddit earlier today. 42 minutes of actual basketball was played in the 3-hour All-Star game. The intro had 30 minutes. The pregame had 10 minutes. The first game was 12 minutes. Mr. Beast came out for a half-court challenge. It was a 5-minute affair. We got game number 2, which was 16 minutes. We then had a music performance that was 6 minutes. We started game 3 and then went to the Inside the NBA tribute, which was 9 minutes, and then finished game 3, which lasted a total of 14 minutes. The post game was 6 minutes. All of the desk game intro segments, all the other bullshit was 22 minutes, and the ads were 80 minutes in total. A 3-hour basketball show that is supposed to entertain the fans featured less than an hour of basketball content. Now, one might say, oh, but the NFL's 3 hours and they play an hour of football the whole time. That's fair. Football's a slower paced game. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it outside of the actual football being played on the field. There's timeouts, there's coaches' challenges, there's a lot of other entertainment factors that are involved with a football game. 4 games, 3 games played, 4 teams. One of them weren't all-stars. They were rookies, rising stars. There was a lot there that just was not right. Kevin Hart stole the show in the worst way possible. I'm not saying stole the show in a good way. He was horrible. Even the players were telling him to shut up at one point. I don't know what the solution is. I wrote an article on what the solution could be, a year ago, and I don't even know if any of those would apply, having the East and the West, and whoever wins gets finals placement or whatever. But I don't know, man. It was rough. I did watch all of it. Saturday night was great. We're going to talk a little bit more about Saturday night on the Wednesday show, so make sure you tune in 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm not even going to do the rest of the time zones. You can figure it out for yourself if you're not from the land. Matt, do you have a solution you have to pose to this whole thing, or?
I don't want to sit here and say I have, the perfect solution or anything. I just, I turn and look at the All-Star event that's also happening at the same time in a sport we don't cover, which is the NHL.
Yeah.
They are hosting what they're calling the Four Nations Face-Off. And they are pitting all of their All-Stars against each other based on country of origin and letting them go fight for glory. Now, obviously, there's a lot of national pride that goes into this. And there's a lot of, just in general, hockey players tend to be more aggressive. They carry more bad blood. And you're allowed to take it out on a hockey rink. But I just think it's, it's almost frustrating to see a big 4 sport flop this bad with what's supposed to be the highlight of their league. This is supposed to be the group of best players they have. And it's just so boring that it's hard to watch almost for a non-hardcore NBA fan. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know what the solution is. Like I said, I'm not going to hop on here and try to give a solution to the problem because I think there is a lot of issues with it. The NFL has basically seceded with theirs and has turned it into an optional flag football game with some other fun events that fans can attend to for like $20, right? So I get the rock and the hard place kind of place we are really in right now. Um, well, I know is what I watched on Sunday night was not it. Having a comedian roast the players during the thing, it was really funny to me that like I kept writing down, like I was taking notes as the game went on, just in case there was anything I really wanted to touch on that wasn't going to be like a main talking point. It was funny to me that Kevin Hart kept burying, wrestling term there, burying the game, burying meaning throwing the game under the bus, talking about how like there's no effort and we need to see centers stop taking threes and guards should play more defense. He was talking about that during the broadcast, and so were the TNT guys. Draymond Green got on the show beforehand and talked about how it was boring and a bad format. Like there was just so much of like, aren't you supposed to be selling me to want to stay and watch this, and not because I do a sports show that I want to talk about this with on the next day? Because if I wasn't talking about this on the show with you, Matt, I was not sitting through the 3 hours of that. There was just no reason to, right?
No, I mean, absolutely. I wouldn't have.
It's just I don't know what the solution is. I want to shout out Evan Mobley real quick. 3 for 3, 6 points in the game. They lost the first round, but he was 3 for 3 at 6 points. Good for him. I don't know, man. A lot of people had gripes with the Rising Stars playing in this. I found myself cheering for them because they were the only ones who were like actually giving a damn and playing hard defense and trying to score and keep the game close. They lost in the first round. No surprise there, even with the lack of effort. But it was still fun. I don't know if we need to just go back to a regular East-West game and whatever happens, if it's a dunk contest the whole time and 3 points from the half court, that was more entertaining than what I watched on Sunday night. And I guess I'd rather have that than what I saw Sunday night. You feel me?
Absolutely. I agree.
You got any other? Oh, you talked about the face-off, the Four Nations face-off. What is it called again? I'm sorry.
It's the Four Nations face-off for the NHL.
That's what I thought. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I said it right. I would love something like that. Shout out the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show people. They were talking about how the Four Nations, they should do it like Europe and Canada, however they break it up, right? But they should do it where like whoever wins gets the bid for the All-Star game the next year. So say like Europe wins, then Paris has to host the All-Star game. So there's more of an incentive because you're bringing something to your homeland, right? Even though it is still right, even though it is still an American league, right? It is a United States basketball league. I thought that was a really cool idea that could add some validity to it. Listen, there's a million ideas out there for how you can fix this thing. I just don't know if any of them are really going to do it at this point because the NBA, again, credit to them, have tried everything and then some to make this game work in the modern era, and we still get more of the same. So maybe I'm just being cynical again. Maybe I'm feeling cynical after a bad All-Star game, but credit to the NBA for trying, discredit for the NBA because that was not the best I've seen in quite a long time. Any other thoughts, man?
I think I'm good to go.
Random thoughts, hot takes, how we always end this show. What is your random thought or hot take to wrap this thing up, Matt?
So let me go ahead. I'll go ahead and cover the Cleveland sport team we haven't talked about today, just to, make sure everybody feels included.
They don't deserve to feel included, real quick. They are in the off season. They were piss poor last season. We almost made it through a whole damn show here at the office, not talking about the Cleveland Browns. But go ahead, Matt. Ruin my day some more.
And I would also like to preface this by saying, no, I will not be taking questions at this time. Myles Garrett's going to be a Cleveland Brown. Everybody's overreacting. It's right here. It's telling me Myles Garrett's going to be a Cleveland Brown, and he's not going to hold out. He's going to play. He's going to win another Defensive Player of the Year in Cleveland. I don't know why I feel it. I don't have anything to back it up. I'm not taking questions on the topic. It's what I feel. It's my hot take. Live with it.
Are you coping right now, Matt? Is that what this is? Are you coping on the live that he's not leaving? Because
I said I'm not taking questions at this time.
Just so he's coping. All right, mine will be a little simpler, a little nicer, right? Me and Eric, who is on the Wednesday show, for those who don't check out the Wednesday show, Eric more so than me as of late, but I've always been a minor league baseball guy. I love the rebrands that minor leagues do in terms of everything that they got going on, right? I just want to hang my hat on what I am going to call the best minor league alt jersey night of the year. Again, completely biasly. I am a Cleveland homer after all. For the Akron Galley Boys, because I love me some Swenson's. Swenson's is headquartered in Akron, former Rubber Ducks employee. Big fan of that rebrand. Just wanted to give them a shout out. It's more of a random thought than a hot take. I guess it's a hot take because I said that it's the best rebrand. It's definitely, probably, honestly not. But it's my favorite out of any of the ones I've seen. I will be purchasing a hat, a shirt. Hell, I'll probably enter the live auction for a jersey, depending on what the funding in my bank account looks like at that point. I'm really excited for the Galley Boy. I want to go to that game, actually. I should figure out when the date is and get some tickets behind home plate for that, because I'm going to have me some Swensons. That's all I'm going to say. Matt, you got anything else you want to say to the people before we wrap this thing up and take it on home?
I think I'm good to go. I think, that would be a fun game to have both the hosts of the show at and get to talk about.
Hey, maybe we could get some vlog content out of it too. You never know. You never know. Listen, you have been listening to At the Office, a Cleveland sports show. Appreciate you tuning in. If you're watching the live or, the downloaded version, what have you, make sure you subscribe, hit the download, helps us grow the show a ton. Give us a ring, 216-260-3433. Leave us a voicemail. We'll get to your message. We'll probably feature you on the show. Why wouldn't we? Why couldn't we? Check us out on all social medias at The Office CLE. That is @ The Office CLE. Matt, it's been a pleasure talking to you as always. And until next time, Cleveland, have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.